Welcome to this episode of Purpose, Power, and Potential presented by the Top 1%. The great philosopher Henry David Thoreau once said, "I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor." In this episode, I want to share with you 3 key non-traditional ideas that will skyrocket your overall performance. Number 1, improve your self-awareness. As you're watching this video, I want you to try to look at yourself from a distance. Take a step back and project your consciousness upward, into a corner of the room. Now, look at yourself. What do you see? Can you see yourself as though you were someone else? Now, reflect on your current mood. Can you observe it? How are you feeling? If you had to put it in words, how would you describe your current state of mind? As you peek inside yourself, try and focus on your mind. Observe how your mind is working. Would you call it swift and agile, or slow and sluggish? Do you sense at this very moment that your mind is torn between doing this mental exercise and checking on your social media or some other distraction? Your ability to do what you just did, to observe and scrutinize yourself as if you were someone else, to get an outsider's perspective of yourself, is distinctively human. We call it self-awareness or mindfulness. It is your ability to separate from yourself and analyze your own thoughts and actions at will. No other creature, unless genetically altered, has this ability, which is why humans have dominion over all other beings in this world. It is also why we continue to improve and progress from one generation to the next. This ability to reflect on our thoughts and actions, as well as those of others, is why we can observe, evaluate, judge, and imitate. We are not simply the sum total of our feelings, moods, thoughts, and actions. Self-awareness allows us to take a step back, observe ourselves, and understand our paradigm. It affects not only our attitude and behavior, but also what we recognize as our own strengths and limitations. Self-reflection acts as our map to building our character, and the sooner we realize this, the sooner we can get in touch with our true purpose. One of my favorite teachers is a brilliant leadership and personal mastery trainer, SHARMA. One of Robin's most brilliant insights is a concept which he identifies as the integrity gap. The integrity gap essentially says that the larger the gap is between your authentic self and the person you have become in order to please others and fit into the world around you, the less you will be able to thrive in your personal and professional life. Think of your authentic self as that essential you that remains once you strip away all the unjustified fear and unhealthy mental conditioning. We all hear well-meaning advice, though I would argue misguided, such as don't chase your dreams, be practical, not passionate, and don't work so hard. Not surprisingly, over time, this barrage of negative messages can create a cloud of negative core beliefs that become our life scripts and don't serve us well. According to SHARMA, we then go through life as our social selves rather than our authentic selves. The authentic part that remains consists of our passion, our honesty, our curious nature, and our integrity. It's the opposite of unjustified worry, fear, and self-doubt. The battle then is to recognize our authentic selves by identifying our real core beliefs, and to push back the negative messaging that nudges us to live as our social selves. The very best place to start in order to reorient ourselves into living a life of integrity is to identify our life mission and purpose. Until we improve our self-awareness and honestly evaluate our strengths and weaknesses, we will be unable to comprehend our authentic natures. Likewise, we will be unable to pursue all that we were meant to be and meant to do. We will continue to project our social selves rather than our authentic selves, and will struggle to find answers and purpose from within. This process, left unchecked, significantly limits our personal potential and our ability to achieve massive success. However, because of the unique human capacity of mindfulness, we can quickly turn things around. We can reflect on our paradigms to determine whether what we believe about ourselves is serving our ability to design our ideal life, or if our paradigms need shifting. Have you ever taken conscious note of the constant inner dialogue taking place in your head? Once you understand this reality, it becomes important to monitor the type of language and phrasing that you allow to take place. Always remember that words have significant ramifications. We must always manage our words carefully, whether they are thoughts or spoken aloud. I would encourage you to always strive to use leadership-oriented language. Phrases like, let's see, here's how, don't worry, and we'll figure it out will build confidence in yourself as well as your organization. We must always remember that authentic leadership starts from the inside as well. Memory expert and trainer Jim Quick uses the phrase, "Your mind is always eavesdropping on your self-talk." What an obvious yet powerful way of understanding the concept. Our thoughts quite literally create our reality by manifesting themselves in our outer world. work on becoming keenly self-aware. Our second idea for increasing your personal performance is to get adequate sleep. Some of us that are driving toward success are still up late into the night each night, going over reports or working on our latest project, determined that we are sacrificing sleep to be a little more successful. Others are still thinking about what must be done tomorrow, pondering the next steps to take to increase the chances of success. Now consider what those who are experiencing the most success are doing. Late at night, those who think they must keep working to try and fit more into the day are slowly burning themselves out. However, people who experience sustainable success are actually sleeping. That's right. The most successful people are not up late at night pounding away on their computer or drawing diagrams for their next presentation. They are sleeping. That's because when we sleep, we accomplish more, because sleep is critical to healing. This is why rest is so important during an illness, or after a tough workout, or even after a hot day in the sun where your skin has been exposed to UV rays. The body needs time to heal. However, it is not just the physical body that needs to heal. Your mind is also hard at work while you sleep. All day long, it collects data and experiences, reporting them back to the mind and storing them for later. It is during the sleep hours that the mind slows down enough to process all this information. For the mind to store information and for us to truly learn anything, we must sleep so the mind can slow down enough to organize all the day's experiences. This is the time that the mind gets rid of the parts of the day that were insignificant, clears out what doesn't matter, and then all the learnings and memories of the day are stored deep within the mind for later use. Without sleep, therefore, we cannot truly learn or process anything. Sleep is necessary for all the work that we do to be conceptualized and useful moving forward. So here are 3 key things you sacrifice when you don't get adequate sleep. First, information processing. Second, emotional regulation. And third, concentration. Imagine how you're sabotaging your performance by not allowing your body adequate rest. There are many factors that determine how much you should sleep. Someone who is incredibly active, such as an athlete, may require 10 hours of sleep at night. And the same could be true of someone who works in a job with extreme mental stress. On average, most people need 7 to 9 hours each night, but the amount of sleep you need ultimately depends on what you do. The best way to determine how many hours you need is to turn off your morning alarm and simply allow yourself to awaken naturally. Of course, this can be challenging if you have a job you must get to each morning. So consider going to bed earlier and then sleeping as long as you need and letting your internal clock, not an alarm clock, wake you up. Once you have done this for a week or two, you should notice a pattern in how much sleep you get each night, and you can adjust your schedule accordingly. Sleep quality is just as important as quantity. Here are a few tips for higher quality sleep. The first one is to get outside. Make sure you're exposed to natural light throughout the day by opening the blinds or just going outside regularly. The natural light helps balance the body's circadian rhythm, so you're prepared to go to sleep when it is dark outside. The second way is to prioritize the use of your bed. Don't watch television, eat, or work in your bed. Instead, make it a place specifically for sleep and sex. The only exception to this rule is reading a book before you go to bed at night, but make it a paperback rather than an electronic copy. Third, start an exercise regimen. When you're physically active, it makes your body feel tired and ready for sleep at the end of the day. Something to note though, is exercising too close to bedtime can have the opposite effect, because the endorphins that exercise produces can wake us up. Make a habit of exercising after work or first thing in the morning, which will prepare you for the day, but still help you get solid sleep at night. Fourth, you should avoid screens. Avoid watching TV or using backlit devices for about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. The artificial light suppresses the production of melatonin, which is the hormone that makes the body go to sleep. Also, TV tends to stimulate the mind rather than relax it. If you're going to watch something, choose a device that has a small screen or turn down the backlight. And finally, watch what you eat. Eat dinner earlier and avoid eating starch-heavy foods like pasta and bread right before bed. You should also avoid rich, acidic, and spicy foods before bed to prevent heartburn. So, once you're comfortable with the ideas of increasing your self-awareness and getting adequate sleep, here is one final tip for increasing your peak performance. And that is to eliminate unnecessary noise from your life. This one is very simple but extremely crucial. What exactly do I mean by the term noise? Well, any useless thoughts or information distracting you from reaching or moving closer to your goals fits into the category of noise, and it must be eliminated. Noise can be bundled into 4 categories. Number 1 is unusable. If the information is not capable of changing your behavior in everyday life, it is unusable. The news of a catastrophe in some part of the world to which you are not connected at all in any way could be an example of unusable information, and therefore noise. The second one is untimely. If the information will not change anything for you in the immediate future, it is untimely noise. Here's an example. You've bought stocks for the long-term horizon. Checking their performance on a daily basis is untimely, and therefore, noise that you need to keep out. The third type is hypothetical. Any information that falls in the could be or might be category is hypothetical noise that needs to be silenced. Weather and economic forecasts come high in the list of needless hypotheses. The last category is distracting. Any element of information that distracts you is noise. Surfing the internet in a purposeless manner, unproductive emails, and other similar activities are classic examples of distracting noise. If any piece of information falls into the previous categories, it is noisy and needs to be ignored. In short, using your time, energy, and other resources effectively is a key element to achieving peak performance. It all starts with mindfulness, turning off the TV, and heading to bed. I would love to hear your takeaways from what you've learned in this episode. Which of these 3 ideas are you going to implement in your life immediately? Tell us in the comments below. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Purpose, Power, and Potential, where I'll explain that you are not actually your physical body, but you are something else entirely. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media so that you can reach the top 1%.